Hey boys and girls, here we go. Time to play a little NS2. Which should be fun. Oh yeah, you hear it, that countdown timer. The aliens are the deciding factor on which hive they start out on. They're gonna start out in data, sending their expansion quickly up to the north. We're gonna have a Gorges Gone Wild team. Okay. That's actually going to go to the favor of the Gorges Gone Wild. Um, yep. Um, yeah, this is why it's nice to have the official rules being. Excuse me, guys. I'm so sorry for coughing in your ear. A little bit of friendly banter as things get started here. But this time it's for real. You know, as much as the aliens are sort of complaining about that start, they did just lose a skulk free up here in Atrium. That's probably where they want to put that tunnel. That's been the way that most people have been playing the start from Data Core, quickly getting a tunnel at the top of Atrium, or the exit to Atrium into Crevice, giving them a quick way to get around the map and a good way of putting on pressure. But now they should expect Arab King to boost up into this vent and try to get that pick again. But instead, he's not gonna find that skulk, or is he? Arab King proving that he too can play the field. A little engagement. Night Fury does eventually go down. This Gorge now blocking up completely. Nice big stack of clogs. But the aliens are not able to expand any further at the moment. Hitman versus Bless. Bless knows about this Marine because of the parasite. Oh, takes a little damage, but not very much. Dancing around those bullets. Goes in as Hitman switches to the pistol. Hitman not able to kill that skulk. Had a couple of opportunities, but doesn't quite figure it out. Aliens trying to establish this forward tunnel, making sure that the Marines have to play defense for the rest of the round. Once the tunnel goes up, the amount of pressure that can come out is a lot more substantial. One Marine dies to one skulk, but there's plenty of people coming to reinforce this area. Meanwhile, Gorge, who is a younger player, a newer player, who's been in the command chair for the beginning of the round, gonna go out and try to push past into reactor core. Not gonna be able to, though. And let's take the perspective of this skulk, rushing in with his fellow dogs. Not a single skulk falls in that engagement. That's pretty clean. It's gonna set these Marines back quite a bit. Nightmare taking the position of ambushing skulk. Gonna jump down. They do not see him or expect his aggressive positioning. Blast Me doing damage on the bottom of the map. Next, trying to cap in Crossroads. But this forward pressure being a little bit too much for the Marines to deal with so far. This would be the round that you would hope to see We Surrender finally putting the first round win up on the board. But so far, no good for them. Let's find what Hippo is doing. Now, Timo has a pretty good aim. Calling for pause. I don't know if one of their players had any disconnection issues, but internet is causing some issues. So far, excuse me. Let's just take a look at the round as it develops. If we pull up the graph of the RTs, you can see briefly the Marines were able to go up to 4, but they're back down on 2 RTs where the aliens haven't lost a single one yet, putting them at 3. This isn't a particularly high res game, but you can see the aliens catching up to the Marines in terms of the resource graph, and this means that they are in a pretty good position. Because whenever you're able to be in parity with the Marines' resources as the alien team, you're going to be able to get out those life forms that are so hard to kill until you have the equipment and the upgrades to deal with it. So you just need that early game res lead as Marines. It's just so helpful. And you can see also team kills. You're going to see quite a few more kills on this alien side. It's not to be, it's not too... you'd rather be ahead in kills early in the game, and Marines usually have this ability to kind of, where before life forms come out, the Marines should have more kills than aliens. At least that's my feeling. Is able to take that fight. That's pretty good. I'm gonna try to take. This is a little annoying. Night Fury not quite going to be able to kill that IP, but they are going to have to respond to that. Either they're going to have to drop a second IP right away, or an armory to weld that IP, and maybe even a second and an armory. They want to be safe about it. Bless Me seems to be warping a little bit. Yep, definitely having some weird internet connectivity issues. But that can work to your advantage. Never makes it easier to play, but sometimes it makes it easier for you to get or harder for you to get shot, which is nice if you're just trying to dodge around and soak bullets. Oh yeah, that IP not yet healed. He's not going to be able to connect with that, or is going to be able to connect with that Marine, but not doing a substantial amount of damage before getting killed. And now it's easy for them to re-weld up that armory. But a lot of aliens away from their res lane, away from their tunnel. Bless Me taking a huge amount of damage against Old Man. Bless Me doesn't really know that he's putting him in a position to get pinched. Hippo, this is a big moment for him. Killing Alert here would be incredibly important. Doesn't quite connect, and the Gorge gets on top of him, putting that heal spray out on his feet, kind of absorbing enough bullets for it to the Alert player to swing around and finish the fight. Excuse me. Seeing the Drifter being used, some commander abilities coming out. Bless Me, now at full health, able to take an engagement against 2 Marines. They didn't quite have LOS until the last moment there, so the Lurk was able to just quickly sweep up 1 Marine. And then the second one fell because the Lurk was basically undamaged. Lurk versus a Marine, unless the Marine really has a beat on them as they enter the fight. Ooh! Bless Me though. The second alien, the second Lurk comes in, clears the fight. First Lurk soaks the bullets. When you play in tandem with these Lurk players, that's usually how it goes. That's the way to most safely do it. But if we open up the team kills, yeah, continuing to get further and further apart now that the Lurks are coming out. Arab taking a little bit of damage off of this RT in ventilation. Muff playing with Hippo. Hippo does end up killing him. but there's enough space created where the Marine structures are falling left and right. Now the Marines only on 2 RTs. Desperate times for these Marine players, with the aliens up on 4 and just about to be 5. Potentially, if they cap Crevice, 6, although you wouldn't expect they would hold it for long. But the gates have come out. Finally, gates have been finished. 1, 2, and gates. This is an okay position upgrade-wise for these Marines to be, but the Marines, 2 of them are off gates inside of sub-access. They're going to prevent that RT from going up, and they probably will have the space to cap it. These lurks not going for the gate in Crossroads, but instead going for the clear and sub. And that's going to be a quick clear from this alien team playing in a decent pack. Doing good damage to both lurks. He's not going to be able to sustain against that, but they're both going to have to go back and heal, which is not a terrible result for a Marine fighting 2 life forms. And the fade comes out. No lurks have died yet, and the first fade has come onto the field. And that's a pretty good position for these aliens. The second fade, I think, is starting to involve right now. So we're going to have the entire alien team playing lifeforms. Bless me, warping quite a bit. Scared to take the engagement, but boy, oh boy, it'd be hard to kill him with that much hitching going on. Old Man versus Muff is going to be a quick fight. Muff's going to take it. But he will have to heal before he can push back out onto the field. Now Marines have gone back up to 3 RTs. 3 is just the absolute minimum that you would want on a Marine team, or really any team. But you can get, if you choose not to med very much, you can get some upgrades going if you have 3 RTs, but now they're back on 2. This is not good for this Marine squad. We surrender with mines now. A few Marines having picked up those mines. Next, trying to find the pinch. Almost does, but the alien squad is there to support the fleeing lurk, and there's really nothing that can be done. No weapons too, and no shotguns in sight. This is a difficult position for this Marine squad, and now the aliens are forming up around the gate. It's only a few more moments before this fight is determined one way or the other, but it looks like the higher life forms have been pushed out. Both lurks with plenty of life, but fades are retreating. Now Old Man is the only bulwark against this alien attack. Chalky finding a corner in which he can heal his fade player. No Marines in the chair. They simply don't have enough res income for... Ooh. Lifeform is killed there, but it is only the Gorge. All 6 Marine players playing on the field. Bless me, trying to find the angle he wants to take on the rest of this team. Arab gonna tap the RT just as the alien squad comes to clean it up. That's a loss that they cannot afford. Continuing to slow their progress towards upgrades, towards shotguns. They really need some kind of higher firepower. Their shotguns are started. They know they can't afford to have these gates without the ability to come through with that crazy amount of burst damage. That's what wins these fights on top of gates, is weapons 2 and shotguns. But if you can't quite afford it, weapons 1 will have to do. And they are desperate to kill a life form, as none have fallen since the beginning of the game. The only life form yet to die is that Gorge player. So many of these players have been living the entire round. Bless Me has once left the fight with a tiny bit of health on his bar. But boy, oh boy, it's going to be tough. Chalky Milk again dying, but it was on a skulk. You know, at this point, we're counting the number of lifeform kills on one hand. Trying to keep that weapon on the field. Gonna cycle that gun. 4 Marines now pumping each other. trying to huddle like a flock of penguins against the icy, frigid world that is Summit, surrounded by behemoths like sea lions and stuff. Very scary for our Morgan Freeman inspired, avian inspired friends. Another gate has been established. We've got pub strats, guys. It's time to push a hive. But can they do it with Umbra coming around on the field, with the commander bone walling, with only weapons one? Is it possible? And look, at all these life forms seem to be chunking around. At this point, I'm starting to think it might be the server, which would be kind of a tragic way to be playing if it was the server. But you can see 100 res of marine weapons on the ground, and that will signal the very end. Now, in our little downtime, as we looked over statistics, I have a legendary story to tell you about a can, an unopened Bruno. Yep. We surrender, never truly threatening these aliens. There was a brief point in the beginning of the round where it seemed like they could hold on. Summit, although it is a little bit of a marine-sided map, it wasn't the key for this We Surrender team to put up their first win. Not this time, guys. But will they be able to show us an excellent play from their alien side? It's very possible. These teams are pretty close. I know Timo is just trying to figure out why his team can't put up that big V. But yeah, I mean, let's think a little bit about that last round. Obviously, you're not going to be able to hold on to the res and crevice if you let them get that tunnel in Atrium. I think the thing to do would be to push them out of Atrium, not worry too much about capping crevice until you force them to move that tunnel. So maybe running through crevice, not capping it, and pushing two Marines constantly up into Atrium, while on the other side you have the rest of the Marines kind of playing around, pushing their res lane into subs access. I think if you let them hold that Atrium tunnel, it becomes very difficult to hold on to crevice. Crevice, not only can you be underneath the walkway, making you pretty much unshootable from every angle except for this precipice, which you can't see on the map but is right around here. And you can be above, and you can be in this event, and there's just a lot of places you can hide. Almost no room in the entire game works quite like crevice. But we'll see what this alien squad decides for their start position. You did see them deny the tunnel on the front side of crevice, or the top side of Atrium, top side of crevice, or the front side of Atrium. But you can kind of see from where they're huddling, they're probably teaching who's ever playing Gorge where they want them to place that tunnel. Not a great sign that this is happening in the warm-up, but you know, it's sort of an artifact of these teams not having quite enough time to play together as much as they would like, I assume. But yeah, it's a good showing from Timo and his team. We're always glad to have more people in the pool of competitors. Next is a player I'm not super familiar with, but has played a few gathers recently and pretty darn good. I think most of Timo's team are sort of, you know, Arab King plays a ton of gathers. Sick plays a ton of gathers, but only recently. He's a fairly new player and one of the younger folks who have found this game, found their way to. Oh boy. Ah, man, I am pretty sick, unfortunately. I'm literally. I've got my comforter here. I'm like sweating and freezing at the same time. I got all the things. All the things happening. But here we go. Game is starting. More NS2 to watch. It's going to be a fun one. Let's put our hands and hopes together for this We Surrendered team. This is your moment, boys. It's time for you to take that first big victory. And then it's all up from here. And it looks like we're going to have a similar split. These alien life forms all heading up towards Crevice. Arab King, though, looking for some parasites in Crossroads. No Gorge built yet or evolved quite yet. Excuse me, guys. Sorry. Hitman going Gorge around the corner. Gonna try for this forward tunnel. They probably will be able to establish it, but there's in full auditory range of these Marines. Marines know exactly what's happening, and it is what they tried to do, so perhaps they know the best way of dealing with it. Now, I think it's to run a few bodies into this room. Old man trying to take the fight, jumping around a corner, was one parasite away from killing that Marine. But sometimes you gotta be just a little bit more careful, a little bit more patient, so that ambush can come through. This Drifter not going to be killed. Almost, though. Muff on the reload. Now the sys chain is cut. And there is no there is no tunnel on top of this RT, so it must be systed. This sys chain, very important. But Night Fury doing a little bit of damage in the alien spawn. This is triple systed. That's very crucial to keeping a hold of your base RT. It's so easy to get behind that position and make it really difficult for the aliens to clear the Marine. Night Fury kills one after another. Hippo finally clearing the Marine in his base, but not before the tunnel has been lost. Hitman doesn't want to leave completely, wants to be around to reinforce this fight. Not quite bold enough to run up the stairs and start spitting, but here he goes as we take his perspective. 60 damage already on this Marine. That's quite a few spits landing on target, but that Armor 1 has now completed. Armor 2 immediately started. Pookie in the chair, doing very standard stuff, throwing out a few med packs on top of that. Yet again, into reaction. Ooh, Pookie's out of the chair. A dangerous gambit, but does kill one of these skulks. And there's a Marine right around the corner. Bless me, is going to be able to push them off this RT. I mean, this IP before it's too late. But some damage has occurred. Although none of it is permanent. And now Muff gets a Drifter and will also get this RT unless that Gorge is a little bit cavalier with his Gorge life. Not being quite crazy enough. I would have liked to see the repositioning of this data tunnel on top of the RT in Atrium in order to secure that res just a little bit more. Now the sys chain on the data core node has been cut. This means Night Fury does need to be routed from this position. As we've watched briefly to look at what's happening on the top of the field, Night Fury does go down. This tunnel not yet spotted out, or if it has been, it's not the priority. Nightmare now putting a ton of damage on this RT. All the RTs receiving some amount of pressure, one already having had fallen in reactor. Meanwhile, on the Marine side of the field, there's not enough pressure coming out from this alien team, which causes them to be able to safely cap up to 4 RTs, which on Summit is okay. big differences in the beginning of this round and the last one. The Marines had far more kills than the aliens do, and when they were playing, and what they did when they were playing the Marine round previously. This looks like it could be another attempt on main. No. Oh, it has been scouted that at least 3 lurks are up. 3 lurks, not necessarily cheese. 4 lurks, on the other hand, very much cheese. Nightmare is looking for this pack of lurks, wants to be able to scout it for his team, wants to be able to give them enough time. But there are 3 Marines in base and another one spawning. The lurks smartly don't run in there. They don't have a good count on how many Marines on the map. So instead, they just take the RT and leave. And Hitman on Gorge is going to be able to belly slide away. But this is going to also mean that they're not holding the rest of the map. So their res is also going to die. Both teams on a pretty low economy game right now. Will this ball of birds, this lurk, this murder of lurks, pay off? Pretty good lurk movement from Hippo, but he almost dies regardless. That single Marine able to push that lurk back to the hive. But Bless Me is a heck of a shot. Makes sense that it was him. And Marines quickly capping back to 4 and almost up to 5 RTs. Now these lurks will have to do a ton of res biting. Not only will they have to win their engagements, which it's slightly easier to do with the higher life forms, they're gonna have to find a lot of space to do economic damage as well. Have the aliens switch their projected expansion hive to sub-axis after losing the fight in Atrium several times. Not entirely sure, but Bless Me continues to be lagging so ferociously. Oh god, Arab not watching where he's going.
Oh my.
He just saw his fellow lurk buddy dying to 2 Marines in that it should have been called, but Arab doesn't normally play Lifeform unless he's playing pubs and just doesn't quite get the message. Now where he would have gone otherwise, I don't really know, but yeah, getting pinched, losing 2 birds, only 2 remaining. Hippo is one of them, however, and he's quite an experienced lurk player. Let's see if he can get it done for his team. Biting in this RT is probably not the safest thing to do with 2 Marines right around the corner. And next is going to be able to win the first half of that engagement. Old Man and Timo taking the second, but Bless Me continues to push people out of the room. And now the Marines that were crawling around the north side of the map have ended up in data core, taking out a shell. 2 shells lost and only 1 remaining. They are not going to be able to clean up Muff, though. Those meds coming in from the commander. Lots of damage done as this alien squad scrambles to hold their resources in their hive. Bless Me looking for this kill on the Gorge, but the lurk lawnmowing his ankles and continues to hold his team in this game. These 2 lurk players are going to have heroic performances for this game to go much longer. 2 Marines around the corner, coming through this comp lab hallway. Aliens out and destroying that RT before it's been a problem. Arab King managed to get a parasite on Nightmare, which is going to give them plenty of information to know that these lurks have to come back to the hive. This is a final shell going down. All 3 shells lost. Not a single one remaining. Data core tunnel dying almost as fast as it's been established. So many life forms falling to this Marine team. Yet another lurk goes down. Not a lot of options for this alien squad. Marines only finally at 8 minutes getting this 2-2 upgrade. But I think it's enough, even though they are in pretty high probability of falling down 2 RTs. They currently hold 3 to the aliens 2, and the aliens are only gonna have 2 for a second longer. What the heck? That has got to have been a mistake. A little bit of a cheeky hive drop just to say we can't be predicted. I don't really know the idea behind that. Maybe they thought they were going to get away with a sneaky hive drop. But next, the only alien really to be in a positive kill-death ratio. Marines kills skyrocketing above the alien kills all round long. These players, just a little bit of difference in their hive skill. Little bit. Just almost twice as much. But that's partially because there's just 1 or 2 players on the We Surrender squad who are still new to the game. Sick IGN especially, just a little bit new. Yeah, I mean, who would have thought that they would have a player that was just as good as Bruno, sitting on the bench? Why not field them at the same time? I don't understand. Okay, my first round getting to cast Descent. I'm actually quite excited for this. Few of you have been able to tune in to the other casters as they've had an opportunity to show a few rounds on this map. Would have liked to see how Alski played this the other day, but Salty not able to take a game off of Alski. It was a shutout. But yeah, this map very difficult for Marines. Whereas the last map was predominantly a Marine-sided map, this map is a predominantly alien-sided map. You can get 4 RTs, maybe even 5, just by expanding away from the Marine team. The aliens just have so many safe RTs on this map, and it's really easy to get, 2. At least these 3 RTs established, and then 2 hives up at a relatively quick pace. After that, you have such a excuse me. Oh my gosh. The problem is, yeah, this RT and briefing is really hard to hold as Marines, even though you've got these long hallways leading into briefing. This RT in cavity is right next door to furnace. So you can keep it down as the Marine team, but then you can't really push in the hive. This kind of weird, funny hallway is very difficult to use as the Marine team. Right through here and here. There's just a lot of places for aliens to hide, and they can spawn in their hive while you're trying to pressure. So you usually get stuck in this Marine, in the cavity. So you can deny this RT, but you can't really do much else, and then you end up not being on the field for the rest of the team. It's very difficult. And the main pressure point in this map for Marines to hit is this node here in Purification. That's right. This node right here is the one you want to keep on hitting, because it makes it hard for aliens. It's a hard one for aliens to hold. All the rest of the RTs are so safe, and this gives you a better way to put on a little bit of pressure while essentially holding a lane. Now, it might not look like it is, but there's basically 1, 2, 3, 4-ish lanes.
Look you.
that you have to deal with. I think this node in extractions is actually fairly easy to hit. You never really see aliens dropping filtration until the third hive. In this game, unlike, I think because of the similarities in visual aesthetics and sort of thematic aesthetics to a game like StarCraft, you might think that it'd be an advantage for the aliens to expand towards the Marines. That's sort of the basic idea of how you want to play a ZVT in StarCraft 2, but that just isn't the case in this game. It is better because of how much slower the Marines are, and for there only ever being 6 on the field at maximum, to make the Marines come out all the way towards you. And that's why this map seems alien-sided. It's just like the extremities are where the RTs are for the alien side. So this RT is absolutely as far as away as it can be. This one's almost the same, and this one's even further. Holy crap, what incredible run distances for this Marine team. Now, this res node was pushed back from into its old position. There are map versions of this map where the res node is here, but I'm not entirely sure. I mean, like, this was definitely to nerf. This is definitely a nerf to the Marine side. So, I don't really know why. Maybe I'm, we'll have to see. Now, I know this map doesn't get a ton of love in the competitive community, but it's pretty cool looking. It's a little dark, it's a little purple, but lots of great assets uniquely developed for this map. The map in general looks pretty cool. It'd be great to see it played slightly more. I think it needs a couple little innovations to make this a safer map for Marines. This vent in between cavity and transfer, or cavity and regulation, basically allows the aliens to jump between these two lanes very quickly. Probably not very great for them. On Earth, did I say descent? I did say descent earlier, but this is on Earth. Forgive me. We're waiting for one of the We Surrender players to join back up. Oh, I'm sorry. Fortunately, NYC is still having gathers. I mean, I think definitely the season play takes precedent. We did see this server warping quite a bit. Let's see if we can get Ritual to... mean, I think this match, I think the players aren't like super freaked out about playing on this laggy server. They ought to have the option to play on NYC, I think, but I'm not like running around and trying to kick people off gathers just to do that. I mean, maybe if the teams were a little bit more agitated or dependent on. Okay, cool. They did get NYC to swap out to host the game, I think. Yeah, there was just so much warping in that last round that's not really appropriate for these sorts of games. So there has been a 2-0 for the Gorges Gone Wild side, as we maybe are joining up onto a new server to play out the end of this game. Not entirely sure. I might try to broadcast a few gathers if people are still interested after this game. I think there was a pretty interesting group of players playing earlier. Players playing. Yeah, I know, not the most thrilling cast I've ever done, but trying to not be dead. What? Server's shutting down. Oh, they're doing a restart. A restart of the new server because we want to have as good of a performance as possible for all of you to close out this day of NS2 competitive season play between We Surrender and Gorges Gone Wild. Gorges right now are 2 rounds to We Surrender's 0. We Surrender yet to put up that first big victory, changing the fate of their team so far to a winning trend, carrying them all the way to the finals, I'm sure. Timo, best player in the game, is going to take those weights off of his legs, and suddenly he's going to be able to kick like twice as hard. People are going to be running, screaming, how could you do this? It's going to be nar. Oh my god, I'm so dead. Oh, New York 2. I didn't want to click on that. Excuse me. Waiting for the server to be reset. Gather has now switched to Chapel Hill. Bunch of great players in the Gather. Would love to show you guys that game as well. Even though it's not a season game, I'm pretty sure we would enjoy it. Yeah. Waiting on this server to be reset. So thrilling. Let's quickly look at where we are in the season. Why not? Well, this is getting all set up for everybody. I'm back on the NSL website. You can see that there are so many people in the Gather. There's actually a new Gather forming. So remember, if you didn't get quite your fill of games today, you can go play some. I always recommend at the end of the day, when I sign out, that everybody goes and plays some Gathers. But yeah. Let's look. So, let's switch over to our sign up sheet for games, global info sheet. The next games we have scheduled are tomorrow at 3 p.m. and 5 p.m. Eastern Time. Those games are between We Surrender and Alski. That's gonna be a fun one. And Salty and the Binguses. Salty versus Binguses. I'm looking forward to watching that game with you guys. That one ought to be quite close. We Surrender is the bottom seed, and Alski Syndrome is on the top seed. And while anything is possible, especially with the, advent or the continued use of the dreaded Lurk Rush, who knows? Maybe they could swap their fates. And our fellows playing with We Surrender could come out on top. But it would be a tall ask, as Alski is sort of crushing the competition in this moment. So I'm trying to noobcaster, switching overlays all over the place. So let's give a quick refresh to our server list. And as we do see, Chapel Hill number 2. Well, it looks like that's where everybody's rejoining, although Chapel Hill was giving them issues earlier. Looks like there's some issues with getting the NSL NYC server back online. I don't know why that would be the case. But let me just go check in with these teams. Servers run by community members in a small game. This has not happened much in the season, or there's big issues around servers. Excuse me, guys. Sorry about this. A little argument over the proposed Merc. They're missing a player on We Surrender. I don't know if they're going to be able to get one. Currently, their only attempt to get a mercenary, a Merc player, has been Crazy Cat, and Crazy Cat has been disallowed by the enemy team. I think they don't want to be a loss against this We Surrender team, and they just are a little bit worried about them fielding a more competitive player. They don't want to be the first loss against We Surrender, I suppose. Hippo is now getting another Merc as this game is about to resume. Excuse me. What up, Raven? How you doing, Ravane? It's a buddy of mine from real life. Not like everybody in the NS2 community isn't already my friend, but yeah, I'm fully sick. I'm just leaving my bed to come and cast NS2 games and maybe play a few gathers if I'm a real, you know, glutton for punishment. But yeah, feeling a lot better than I was last night, but have been very sick over the last 2 days. Luckily, there's plenty of home test kits in every CVS all over America right now, and you can be fairly certain that your boy doesn't have COVID. So that's nice. But, yeah, not necessarily the most exciting cast we have for you guys today. Server issues, my own energy being quite a bit lower. These games are going to be continuing to be really fun. Obviously, the games are, you know, these are real great players on both sides. So many great players. The best players in the game are in this game right now. Best Comm, Arab King, best German player, Hitman, best Tier 2, Sick IGN, and best player in general, Hippo. All right, we're waiting for a merc to be found, but yeah, the other team's not really playing ball. They don't want to lose a round. They want to be pushing up in the seeds. They don't want to drop. Their position in the middle of the pack right now will be greatly bolstered by 4 wins, which will give them a chance to be higher seeded in the season. I actually think Gorges is a team that plays pretty well. I mean, we've seen them play well today, and we've seen them play well in the past. I think they... Unfortunately, we're continuing to wait for this game to get started. We surrender, unable to find a merc, and they're really supposed to be able to find a merc if they lose a player during a scheduled match. in 15 minutes, and we've given them quite enough time for that. Unfortunately for them, there also has been this issue with them swapping servers, so maybe there's a little bit more leeway, but it gets too much later and it's going to have to be a forfeit, which would be a drag if we stayed in here waiting for this to happen and there was a forfeit. Now, sectionaire is probably not going to be okayed by this other team. Yeah, they don't want to. They don't want to allow Sectionaire to play. So Section is a pretty great player. Very technical player. Excuse me. They're trying to argue back and forth amongst the players. I mean, like, if you do get somebody of a significantly higher tier, I mean, like, pub elo versus gas, it's really not. It's up to the players, really, to discuss if they feel like one person is too good or. Yeah, I mean, I don't think this is characteristic of the season so far. We haven't had any big, long, drawn-out forfeits like this. So I see you in chat, Dre. I know that this is seeming endemic of competitive play in a small community, but this has not been the way that most games have been going. But they are in pretty dire. They're running out of options, and this Gorges Gone Wild team is not really playing ball. Unless you find somebody of the same tier, or maybe even if you find somebody of the same tier, the other team has the ability to say no. That's just how the rules go. They're there for a reason, so teams can't completely swap out their roster every game. But, yeah. Not so much fun to watch. Maybe I can get... Okay. We are, in fact, going to have the second half of today's games today. Luckily, we found Tom Brady, the man, the myth, the legend, TB. Like the tuberculosis I have at this very moment, Tom Brady, king of the trailer park, lord of the electricians union, quite a journeyman and quite a journeyman it has been. It's time for Tom Brady! Finally, a Merc. Jesus Christ. I do not want to swap servers again. Holy crap.
Do you need a merc?
How do you spell it?
Oh,
Wayfang, can you leave? This is like an official match.
Okay. Yeah. I wish I could go to sleep or bump up my energy or be in bed. No, actually, I'm always thrilled to play gathers and to watch season play. Sorry, it's been a little bit on the boring side, waiting for these teams to okay the mercs. We do see a very standard play from this alien side, choosing this furnace hive, but they are getting a quick tunnel. That's interesting. Gorges gonna probably just get the tunnel and access, I would imagine. If you're going for a quick tunnel, that's where I'd put it. Timo and Hitman both parasited. That's going to give a ton of information. This Drifter, like it had set, like the sense, Tom Brady going to be all the way into the hive. Nightmare caught AFK. That's an interesting predicament. After all this waiting, Nightmare maybe wasn't quite ready when the game started, but that ready timer was ticking down this whole time, and if they had unreadied, it would have given the other team more of a chance to find an appropriate player. However, Tom Brady has already been found. This access tunnel is established. Thanks, MST. I really appreciate your your vote of confidence. I love you too, brother. Next, clinching this fight against the single skulk, Marines able to establish 3 RTs are ready, almost a 4th one. Chalky gonna get out before the Marines continue pressure, and Chalky back in. Chalky trying to heal up Night Fury while this fight happens. You can see in the top corner of your screen, Next versus Bless. This is an important engagement for Bless Me, and he does take it. This means the Marine team has been thrown back to the single IP, pumping out, reinforcing Marines. Arab forced to drop that second IP very early in this match. But no RTs have fallen for the Marines so far. Sick. IGN not able to kill those aliens. And this RT will most likely be killed. There is a reinforcing Marine Hippo about to crest this bridge here and maybe be able to save this RT, but it's really close. And Bless Me has the flank. Bless Me and Night Fury gonna be able to clear that fight. This is gonna be the first Marine RT to go down. But as you can see, it's incredibly difficult to hold on to these RTs for the Marine side. And it's quite simple for these aliens to keep their own up. The Drifter does get killed, a small victory for White Claw, also known as Tom Brady, taking a quick kill and backing. You know, it's important to have one Marine going, pushing this dead lane, trying to make sure that they aren't able to hold 5 RTs by pushing cavity endlessly, mindlessly, as you might say. Oh, not quite able to kill the Skulk. Just one more bullet of any type, and that Skulk would have gone down. Timo now on the tunnel is by himself, however, so probably not gonna have quite enough firepower. Looks away and tries to reload just as a Skulk comes through that tunnel. I think his timing was a little off there. Should have been a little bit more prepared for Lifeform coming out and trying to reinforce. Now Marines trying to hold on to Toxic Pool yet again as Tom Brady, the Merc, continues forward with this We Serenity team. Birds are up in the air and Gorges Gone Wild continues to have laggy players with Bless Me warping all over the place. This is about as bad as I've ever seen him. Yep. This continues to be a little bit of a back and forth around Toxic Pools. The Marines not as easily pushed out of this room as these aliens might have thought. Bless Me going down to quite a few bits of HP. And Pookie is going to get on the back res as Toxic Pool goes down yet again. The only alien RT to receive any pressure was briefly Cavity, but yet the aliens are able to hold on to 4 RTs this entire round without any issue. This is going to cause them to get their upgrades, get their higher life forms, get their second hive at a really competitive pace. Nex and White Claw trying to take this furnace tunnel, but is it going to be enough? They split right as the aliens came out. And they are yet again going to be wiped off the face of the map. Special Hippo going to trying to be able to hold on to his res. Not going to be able to do it. Sick going to try to take the back of the room. Not a player known for his high accuracy. Has been forced into the chair several times by his team. But now Arab going to take. Ooh, we missed Nightmare going down. Did I read that right? Did Nightmare die to a fellow? Yeah, Muff killed Nightmare with a lurk bite. That means he was in an engagement with 2 lurks versus a Marine. The Marine almost killed him, and then the lurk trying to kill the Marine ended up killing his teammate. Pretty difficult. 1-1 and gates established. It looks like that's their theory for the map, to try to get quick gates, which is always a gamble. It's going to allow them to hold Toxic Pool maybe for a little bit longer finally, but yet they've never had somebody pushing into Purification. That's the choke point for this alien team, the keystone, the one place you try to push to really put on pressure. But you can see back res being chomped and not a lot of people out on this map. I don't even know what I'm saying anymore. Sorry. Whew. Muff. Taking a lot of attempts to push these Marines out. Usually, oh my god. Tom Brady from the end of the hallway does end up clinching the kill on that life form, punishing that lurk for taking so many attempts on those Marines and transfer. Next, fighting Bless Me. Bless Me is going to take this fight, but it puts him on half an HP bar. That means he's going to have to go back to the hive in order to heal. And Tom Brady on the Purification node, finally putting some economic pressure on this alien team. Will this be the key for the Marines to get back into this round? But where's that second gate position? You spent a lot of res early to get these gates established, but is this gate going to be enough? Holding 2 RTs, yes, but it doesn't give you an aggressive position to launch attacks from. Only a defensive one to hold on to some back res. These Marines cleared yet again. Harvesting Tunnel, though, very close to being killed. They're going to either have to get a Gorge or a Crag to repair that tunnel, to heal that tunnel. because it's fairly close to going down. Next, pushing up into Purification. Yet again, this Purification node has been reestablished, and Night Fury is coming around as a fade. Gonna be looking for these players, trying to reinforce and put pressure on Purification yet again. He looks like Nightmare knows his way around this map and is going to try to flank this Marine, although he hasn't been able to make contact with him. Now we're in briefing all the way on the other side of the map. The Marine's able to hold on to this RT, but only for a second longer as this gate yet again gets pressured. Night Fury was a little bit trepidatious about pushing that gate, but now he's going to take some bullets in the back by Hitman with a really good angle on this fight, but isn't able to hold the gate. Two Marines come through, but it's just a second before the gate itself goes down. Now Hitman with this shotgun out on the field, liable to lose it if he doesn't stick with his roommate. And a lot of med packs missing, not a single one of those meds connecting. Arab not quite able to get that med on top of his Marine. They're still in this round though. They have not left, and they're trying to reestablish. Reestablishing though is a tall order. This game is far from over, but it'd be a long journey to get back in this match. It looks like we've got 5 Marine pressure. They're gonna go for a hive. They do end up killing one lurk so far, and potentially killing that fade, although the fade does get out. They didn't hear the hive dropped infiltration. I thought that maybe they were walking straight there because they heard the audio cue, but that isn't going to be the case in this occasion. Gate now reestablished. Hippo gonna lose his 1v1 with a skulk inside the base. Has to be aided by Nex with that shotgun. All the SimCity of base objects gonna be tucked neatly behind the gate. This is weapon 1 shotgun, but it's a weapon 1 shotgun push, and they're gonna make the gamble that this is the right move. Very difficult with only 1 weapons upgrade to push a hive, but we'll see if they're able to do it. Sticking pretty close together. Will the call be from this alien team to go after the gate? No, it doesn't seem like it. We're going to take a third-person perspective as these Marines continue to push the hive. No bone walls yet have come out for this alien squad, meaning that these Marines have been able to stay tightly on top of one another. Finally, a good bone wall comes out, splitting the team apart. The Marines in the back are cut apart as the Marines in the front slowly losing their own engagement. One lurk did fall in that fight, but that was just about good as you can expect for this alien team, using the commander ability to hold on to the hive. This push is now going to be sent back to the gate. A Gorge with Bile hitting this RT, not quite making connection with the gate, but that's going to be fine. This is still dangerous for the Marines to run through, as they will lose their armor as they try to aggress back into the hive position. But you can see already all the guns that were brought into the last engagement have died on the floor of the hive room, and this isn't looking like it's going to be a particularly successful hive push. They could have tried to recap in the back of this fight, but instead they're going to go back in. They think that this is their only option. The hive only at 70 HP. This means it could be attacked in subsequent pushes and eventually brought down. Another round of guns come out. 3 shotguns come out in this push. Let's see if they can hold on to this P-res. That's as much as an Onos if you think about it, although it's spread over between several players. You do not want to lose subsequent pushes with shotguns being brought into the room. PvE barely being dropped by this alien squad, but it's not going to have enough time to go up before this Marine team can start putting on pressure. However, they are wiped out of the room. Now this whip is going to have time to go up, and you can see behind them the gate was taken out. That means the Marines only going to be on 2 RTs, and the GG comes out from Hippo as the game continues to I can boost the mic volume. I did tweak the mic a little bit earlier, especially when I'm taking the first person's perspective. It should be a little bit higher. I'll boost the mic. I'm sorry if it can also be brought a little closer to my face. Now it's gonna start. Now when I start shouting, it's gonna
be terrible. Timo's feeding so hard. Timo's garbage.
Dude, I told
oh my god,
you.
Timo throwing.
I had like
Timo
35 strokes in my
Timo's
sleep, dude.
feeding.
You fucking lost your energy there. Gross.
Everyone thinks we have drama. Timo's garbage.
We're the best team in the game. Yo, this is ready. This is me.
Dude, you guys fell for the old pretend
Why
we
does
getting a
Pookie
tier
look
5, we
like
got a tier
Mike
8,
Wazowski,
dude. We're
dude?
fucking winning.
Okay.
Easy, guys, easy. We won these, right?
Yeah, so big words being used on today's cast. Big, dangerous words. Protect your virginal ears. Put those earmuffs on. Actually, don't quite do that yet, because we're about to conclude today's games in just a
My man
moment.
had the ground spikes, dude.
It's just one more game for today's play. As this We Surrender team fights its heart out to try to claw that one victory they've been looking for. One last victory before the season ends. Perhaps. Oh, I forgot that you can... Oh my gosh. That's so funny. There's so many interesting little... Nice. Trying to save my voice a little bit. I'm sorry, guys, if I'm not being the most thrilling. Got a little excited there at the end of that round. There was some interesting plays happening. It's always hard to push that hive with 1, 2, and shotguns. Weapons 1 and shotguns is just the amount of damage you're doing with weapons 2 is just, it feels, even though it's only 10% more, the thresholds in this game are such that weapons 2 really allows you to kill a lot more life forms because it just works out that way, man. It just does. And when you push a hive, you know, it can be a major focus to just shoot at the hive, but you're always going to have to push life forms out of the room. This game is getting ready to start. I'm going to hide my little portrait, and we're going to get right into this game. Here we go. Timer counting down. Will this We Surrender team use the advantage that the alien side has on this map to make their first win? Let's give it up for our team on Aliens We Surrender. This is their moment. You can feel it. This is one team that has a dream. And the other team is Dream's team because it's the player Dream who put it together. But Dream won't be playing on this field. So far, he's been injured all season long, but his team doing okay as Muff clinches 2 kills versus Skulks. Those early kills are always what? Fast Hive dropped. That's an interesting thing, especially because it's not assisted by a Gorge player. Fast Hive on a safe map for aliens and no Gorge to build the hive. Drifter gonna be pulled off the hive building to go build this RT. Arab? Oh no. Not in the chair to move the Drifter. That's a decision. I'm not sure it's the right one, but it is a decision. 3 alien dogs. Sick IGN, the newest player on the scene. Gotta be able to take that fight against Chalky, send him all the way back to base. But still, this hive, now it's going to get the Drifter that was building this purification node all the way back to the hive. But it's going to take absolutely ages with no Gorge building it, and for part of the time that it was being built to not have even a Drifter on it, which means it's just going to take that much longer. Nightmare has been parasited. These Skulks can see him through the wall, which means he's going to really have to be careful in the way he expends his ammo, using his pistol so that he has a full rifle, not checking the ceiling to look for this skulk, waiting for another skulk to come around the corner, but doesn't realize there's already one on top of him. Fakes the reload and does end up killing 2 skulks. He started that reload with only half these his clip expended, so that all he had to do was cancel, and then he was ready to shoot those skulks and doesn't miss a single bullet. Jockey ready, maybe, or just totally AFK, but he can hear these aliens coming around the corner. They ought to know what's coming. 2 Marines already in the back of the base, trying to be ready, but only 1 skulk was killed. And it's a long way away for any other Marines to come in here. This could be We Surrender's final move in this game, and they do. They win. They take a game. That will be the end of today's play. We Surrender taking one taking 1 round off of Gorges Gone Wild. Oh my god. That's the kind of thing that you always have to be ready for in this game. 3 wins by Gorges Gone Wild to 1 win by We Surrender. But man, they finally broke the curse as we update the end of the game. That's going to be a 1. Oh no, that's going to be a 3. And that's going to a 13. 3. And that's going to be a 1. That means We Surrender finally putting a game into that victory column. No longer will they be stuck with that big egg on their scoreboard. That's a win, boys. We count those. Yeah, every time you switch into the first person perspective, this little, like, the way this was coded, it breaks now. Like, it didn't used to break every single time, but it does now. So that's sort of annoying, but the end of the game was Gorges with 3 and We Surrender with 1. We Surrender now finally on the board. Let's quickly look at the website to see what's going on. It's one more game in week 4 has to be played between Snoofed and Elo Game. That should be an interesting game. Elo Game is Crowbar's team, mostly Europeans, a lot of old school players. Snoofed is a really good mix of players. They're really competitive. Snoofed is probably Snoofed, Alski, Salty, Elo Game. Those are our 4 top teams. So an Elo Game versus Snoofed match should be pretty exciting. As soon as that's scheduled, we'll let you guys know. Those teams not yet scheduling their 4th match. Hopefully it doesn't end in a forfeit. We Surrender versus Alski. That should be... We'll see if We Surrender is able to put up a good fight against Alski. Alski currently the top of our bracket. We Surrender finally getting their first victory. Actually, Snoofed and Alski are currently tied, but I'm not entirely sure. Yeah. I think they drew against each other. Drew. Yeah, they certainly did. That match was watched by Infamous. That was probably an infamous game to go watch. If you're not done watching 6v6 competitive play, that's probably a good one to go back and watch if you missed it. Those are our 2 top teams, and they're going to be really hard to beat for sure. Snoofed, let's go and quickly poke at their roster. Yeah, Snoofed, really great players. This is kind of... these guys they go hard. There's no question about it. No problem, boys. But yeah. Doggo, Mendo, Joshi, all these guys, such incredible shots. Not a single person in this team that can't play the game backwards and forwards. Alski is going to be another team with just star-stacked players. Those two teams likely to meet again in the finals or semifinals. That will be exciting to see. But Elo Gain is trailing with just only by 2 rounds. And they haven't played their 4th match yet. So that's a thing. Yeah, Elo Gain. Definitely a tough contender. Really great pan-European players. I'm done filling time. It's been great as always. I'm your caster, Ozilla, signing out for NSL TV. Thanks for joining me, guys. I had such a pleasure casting today's rounds, even though there was a little bit of a slowdown in the middle of the day, and I'm a little bit under the weather. Hopefully tomorrow I'm feeling much, much better. So far, I have been recovering pretty well. But tomorrow we do have 2 games. I'll probably be your caster for both. There's not a bunch of people rushing to cast these 2 games. But Elo Gain versus Snoofed. That's going to be a fun one to watch. And we'll see how they play those rounds. That will be good. And that will be at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if you're on the Pacific, that's right, the West Coast, Best Coast, that's going to be at 12. Let me just confirm that that is the case. 21. Oh, no, actually they changed. I thought it was... Oh, whoops. I'm so sorry. Elo versus Snoofed is not yet scheduled. I was just remembering those names versus each other, but that's not the one we have tomorrow. It's Gorges Gone Wild versus Hand Watchers. Hand Watchers in 7th place. Gorges Gone Wild now going to be bumped up a few. If we go back to the roster, but that should still be an interesting match. Those guys are going to take a few games back and forth for sure. Whoops, that's just muscle memory taking me back there. Let's see. Yep, Gorges Gone Wild gonna have 3 more victories under their belt, or 1 more victory and 3 more round score wins under their belt. It's gonna push them up quite a bit. But yeah, Gorges Gone Wild versus Hand Washers. That's gonna be tomorrow. That should be pretty fun. And We Surrender versus Alski. Expect for there to be a lot of rushes in that game and shenanigans. Both teams are probably going to be pulling out strats to befuddle and confuse their opponents, because a straight game between these two would probably lead to Alski blitzkrieging through We Surrender's line. I don't mean to be negative at all, but We Surrender has been having some trouble fielding a really competitive team, and Alski is absolutely at the top of our roster right now. And so, we expect the unexpected in this next upcoming round, because those teams are going to have to really do some crazy strats in order to level the playing field. And I think if you're going to be playing on Alski, you're going to constantly have guys playing close to the Marine start, so We Surrender can't do to you what they just did to Gorges Gone Wild by base rushing. I think that's going to be their main strat. And you could see that in this game, I get a lot of look-alike comments. I've got one of those faces that sort of is a, it's a law of averages or something. I've can't tell you how many times people have come up to me and been like, "You kind of look like my friend," or like, "You kind of look like that guy." But it's Jeremy Piven. I look like Jeremy Piven. That's the one. All right, guys. Bye. I'm signing out today. Go. I love you all. Stay safe. Stay healthy. Go play Gathers. All right. See ya. Bye.